So what a night it's been in the NBA. And we'll start off with the Magic and the Cleveland Cavaliers box score. And we'll go over it in the fantasy guys. So the Magic win 105-94 and improve to 6-2 now on the season. And the Cavs fall to 4-4 here. And now to the Cavs box score. Larry Nance Jr., 32 minutes of play, 10 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. 1 for 3 from 3, 4 for 7 from the field. And Larry Nance, he's a player that should be owned in all fantasy leagues, but he's also a player I said to sell high this week before his value takes a dip. And now the last few games, Nance, his stat lines haven't been all that great. And in this one, another mediocre to poor stat line for him. So if Nance, you could package him with someone else and get a player you want, that's a type of deal I would make. C.D. Osman, he had a huge game the other night, but in this one, he struggled mightily. 32 minutes of play, 4 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 of 12 from the field. He has no fantasy value. He's too inconsistent. I know he's playing minutes. He's starting for this team, but I can't trust him at this time. Colin Sexton, another decent game for him here. 21 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 8 of 20 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3. The only thing with Sexton, his shooting percentage hasn't been all that great of late. He's scoring the points. He's one of the better players or the best player here on this Cleveland Cavalier team. And he's got helping fantasy owners this season. And he went in the 8th and 9th round of most fantasy drafts. So Sexton right now, he's doing good. The rookie Okoro, he started in this one at shooting guard. 28 minutes of work, 10 points, no rebounds, 2 assists, 4 or 5 from the field, and 0 for 1 from 3. So Okoro, it's the first time he got major minutes this season, and he's a guy to keep an eye on. Obviously, in dynasty leagues and keeper leagues, you're going to keep an eye on him more because he's a rookie, and obviously it's going to take him a few years to get going. But right now, he's starting, and now just keep him on your watch list and see what he does. Andre Drummond, a huge double-double in this one. 19 points, 15 rebounds, and an assist. And Drummond, he was picked in the 3rd or 4th round of most fantasy drafts. And right now, he's putting up good value. He's a good center. He's a double-double machine. And he's also going to add 1.5, 2 blocks per game for your fantasy team. Javale Mcgee, 17 minutes, 6 points, 5 boards, 3 assists. Mcgee, he was a recommended add this week, but the last few games now, his numbers have gone down. And right now, if you have him on your roster, I would drop him. There's better options. Damien Dotson, he played a few minutes. Don Maker, 14 minutes. Wade and Bolden, those guys don't have fantasy value at this time. And Dante Exum, he's out with a strained calf. That's why Okoro got the start in this one. But he has no fantasy value. And Darius Garland, the right shoulder strain, he's a big part of this team. And now he's been out the last few games, so we'll see when he could come back and help fantasy owners. And Kevin Love also out indefinitely, it seems like, with the strained calf. Now to the Magic side of things. Aaron Gordon, another good game in this one. After coming off a 6 3-point performance in the last game, he hit 6 threes. And in this one, 15 points, 8 boards, 3 assists, and he added 2 threes. So Gordon, if he could get his shooting right, which the last couple games he has, he's going to have good fantasy games. He's going to help owners, and that's what he did in this one. Gary Clark, 28 minutes of play, but he don't have fantasy value. 3 points, 4 boards, and assists. Markelle Fultz, major news coming in here. He's out for the season with a torn ACL, the Magic fear. And seeing that play over, it just looked like that knee buckled and gave out. So Fultz here, I thought he was going to have a breakout season, but now tearing the ACL, at least he got paid by the Magic here. So that's a good thing for him, because if he tore the ACL and he didn't get that good contract, it would have been a problem, obviously. So now with Fultz out, maybe a guy who's going to fill in here is Cole Anthony. He's going to get major minutes. And also Dwayne Bacon's going to play some good minutes as well. But it's a devastating loss for the Magic and fantasy owners who had high hopes like I did for Markelle Fultz now. Out for the season with a torn ACL. Dwayne Bacon, 31 minutes of play. 19 points, 2 boards, and an assist. 8 of 14 from the field. It was a good game for him, but I got to see more till he has fantasy value. Nicola Vukovic, he had a good stat line except his field goal percentage. 7 of 18 from the field, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 6 of 6 for Vuk. So Vuk, he's a solid player. He's putting up great numbers so far, and you're getting the production where you drafted him in 3rd or 4th round of your leagues. Cole Anthony now, he's going to be a major pickup if he's out there in your fantasy leagues. But Fultz out for the season. He played 32 minutes, 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists for the rookie. So I'm going to expect big minutes. He's a guy I definitely will go to the wire now and get before it's too late, because he's going to be the starter possibly, or he's going to play 25, 30 minutes a game. There's going to be growing pains. He is a rookie, but Anthony, he's a great pickup here. Birch, 24 minutes, a good stat line, 6 points, 10 boards, 2 assists. But right now, I don't think he's in fantasy plans. Terence Ross, another good game off the bench. 5 threes, 20 points, 2 boards, 2 assists in 21 minutes of play. James Ennis, decent game. He don't have value. And Evan Fournier, he was out again with back spasms. So Fournier, the Magic, they need him in a big way now to take some of the production back that Fultz was giving him. But he's going to be out. So that was that game. Now, Philly and the Washington Wizards, what a shootout this was. And what a ball game. And Philly, they just keep putting up points and winning ball games. What a game it was. And this did not go to overtime with this score. 141-136. This was an all-star game type of ending with the score here. And we'll get right to it, to the box score for the Wizards. We're starting off with Bradley Beal. What an insane game for Beal here. 60 points in 38 minutes of work. He ran out of gas at the end of this ball game. But Beal, he had 57 points after the 3rd quarter. And Beal, like I say all the time, this guy, he's got potential to go off any night for 30-plus points. And he doubled that in this one. 38 minutes of work, 60 points. He still had 7 boards and 5 assists, 20 of 35 from the field, which is still a great percentage. And he went 13 for 15 from the line, 7 of 10 from the 3-point line. So Bradley Beal, he's one of the better scorers in the NBA, and he's keeping up where he left off last season. This guy definitely has a chip on his shoulder. He averaged 30 last season and didn't make the All-Star team. But what a game for him here. He's a walking bucket, is Beal. And right now, he's leading owners to victories and category wins with this big game right here. That's hard to duplicate. And already here in the early NBA season, it's the second 60-point game of the year. We saw Curry go for 62 the other night, and Beal 60 here. Now Rui Hachimura, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 for 4 from the field. When a guy drops 60 like Beal, your stats, your teammates' stats, they're not going to be much, even though I know they scored 136 in this one. It was just a run and gun type of game. But this game, I'm just going to chalk it up as a Bradley Beal game, and no one's stats aren't going to be that great. Avida, he's droppable, I think, now. I've recommended him as a pickup, but the last 2 or 3 games now, he's shown nothing, and he only played 15 minutes with 1 point in this one, so he's safe to drop. Russell Westbrook, another solid game here, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 12 assists, 2 rebounds shy of a triple-double. And this is what I said about Westbrook coming into the season. Triple-double Russ is back. And right here, almost nightly, he's putting up those numbers. And he actually went 3 for 6 from the 3-point line. So the thing with Westbrook, you know he's one of the toughest players in the league. You know he hustles, no doubt about it. Just his shooting has to get going and improve. And 3 for 6 from 3 is not bad. Thomas Bryant, his numbers took a dip, obviously, also. And he was a player I set to sell high this week at center. 33 minutes, 11 points, 6 boards, 4 or 6 shooting. So this game, like I said, the stats, I'm going to chalk it up for the other guys, because Bradley Beal was on fire. He was the go-to guy. And Beal took 35 shots, and not many shots would go around for this team. But Davis Bertans, he definitely got his in this one. 32 minutes, 17 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 6 of 15 from the field. And he took a whopping 12 threes, and he hit 4 of them. So Bertans, you know what you're going to get for him. 12 to 15 points a game. He's going to hit 2 or 3 threes. He's just a jacker and a stretch 4 from the 3 line. And that's what he did here. Ish Smith, 23 minutes, 9 points, 5 boards, 5 assists. He don't have value. Robin Lopez, 5 points, 2 boards. And Nito, 11 minutes, 5 points, no boards, 2 assists. So that was the Wizards box score. Now to Philly here. Tobias Harris, another game Another good numbers for him, 40 minutes of play, 19.7 rebounds, 3 assists, and these are the stats you're going to get from Harris. 8 for 16 from the field, 3 of 7 from the floor. You're going to get 15, 20 points a game and 6 to 8 rebounds, and that's what he's been doing. Danny Green, another decent game for him. And he fits well with this Philly team. 30 minutes of play, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists for Green, 5 for 8 from 3, and 5 for 10 from the field overall. So Green, he might get on the radar soon if he piles together a few more games. He's put games up together, though, the last few. Ben Simmons, another solid night for him. 17 points, 6 rebounds, 12 assists, and a smooth 7 of 9 from the field. Simmons, just if he could get better at the foul line and hit threes, he'll be a fantasy monster. And this Philly team really could get it to the finals then if he does that. Seth Curry, I told you to buy him this week. And a monster game for Seth here, 28 points. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, a whopping 11 of 14 from the field. That's not going to happen every night. But Seth, this guy could shoot. Obviously, he's not like his brother, but he's getting better each and every season. And he's another guy that fits this Philly team with Doc Rivers running it, and 6 for 7 from 3. So Seth Curry, he can help a lot of fantasy owners this year, win a lot of games, and go deep into the playoffs with big games like this. Joel Embiid, he's a total stud. Only thing with him is health, and in this game, he put up a monster line. 38 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 11 of 20 from the field, and a perfect 13 for 13 from the line, and 3 for 4 from 3. Embiid, he has a chip on his shoulder. He's tired of losing, and you can see right now this season, he's getting the job done for this Philly team. Shake Milton, another good game here. 19 points, 3 assists, 6 of 9 from the field, 6 of 8 from the line, 1 for 3 from 3. So Milton, he was a recommended pickup, and he's the 6th man here for Philly. And he's going to score, he's going to hit threes, and he's going to help an assist. So if he's out there in your league, go get him. And Thibault, he don't have value. Dwight Howard, Maxey, and Ferguson, no value here. So that was the Philly and Washington box. And the Houston Rockets and the Pacers with a big victory here tonight, 114-107. Pacers improved to 6-2. They're having a great season here in the West. And the Houston Rockets fall to 2-4. Now to the box score here. And for the Rockets, PJ Tucker, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 3 of 4 shooting, and 2 for 2 from 3. Tucker, he don't have fantasy value right now, in my opinion. This was a good game, but he was a recommended drop. You got to see more performances like this to take him serious as a fantasy guy. So I don't think Tucker has value, and we'll wait and see. Nwaba, he got a start in this one, and he played pretty good. 15 points, 4 rebounds, 6 for 11 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3. But Nwaba, he don't have fantasy value now. A couple guys were out in this ball game here for the Rockets. Daniel House and Christian Wood and Ben McLemore. So once a few of those guys come back, Nwaba, he'll play limited minutes or not play at all. So he has no value at this time. John Wall, another good game here for Wall. 37 minutes, 28 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. So right now, believe it or not, I think John Wall, he's been the best player here on Houston in the first 6 games for them. He's putting up stats. He looks healthy. He's not missing games. And it's back to the old John Wall here. He's scoring. He's passing. He looks quick. And it's a good thing to see. So if you got him where he was going in fantasy drafts, 8th and 9th round, it's paying off for you and your teams right now. James Harden, another mediocre game for him here. 15 points, 4 rebounds, 12 assists. 5 of 14 from the field and 1 for 5 from 3. So James Harden, I don't know if his heart's all the way in it, but his points the last couple games now have gone down. The assists have gone up, which is a good thing. But Harden right now, he's not giving you that alpha number 1 pick overall value, which many people still took him number 1 with all the trade rumors and the discomfort he has there in Houston. So hopefully Harden picks it up now. In the next few games, Demarcus Cousins, he actually played a decent role in this one and started at center with Christian Wood out with the left knee soreness. And Cousins, he produced in this one, 9 points, 14 rebounds and an assist. Just the bad thing was his field goal percentage. 2 for 9 from the field, that's got to improve. But Cousins, he's still working into shape. Like John Wall, he hasn't played in 2 seasons pretty much as Cousins. So we'll see if he could get going and get minutes bumped up as the weeks and the games go on. Eric Gordon recommended pickup this weekend just for scoring and hitting threes, and that's what he did in this one. 20 points in 33 minutes, a rebound and assist, 7 of 15 from the field, 2 of 10 from 3. So Eric Gordon, that's what you're going to get from him. He's a main scorer off the bench on this team, and he's going to help fantasy teams in these categories. Tate, 23 minutes, but he didn't have much impact. 8 points, 2 boards, 2 assists. And Christian Wood, like I said before, out with the knee soreness. And Christian Wood, he's been a fantasy monster so far. So hopefully he's only day-to-day, and he comes back soon. Now to Indiana side of things, a bonus, another big game here. 22 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists. He's a stud. He's having a good season, Sabonis. He got his contract, and now he's playing and doing work here for this Pacer team. Aaron Holiday, another start, not impact. He's not on fantasy radars right now. 27 minutes of play, 7 points, 3 assists, 3 of 8 from the field, and 1 for 4 from 3. Malcolm Brogdon, he's been a stud this season for the Pacers and fantasy owners, and he had a huge game in this one. 35 points, 2 rebounds, 7 dimes, 13 for 25 from the field, 4 or 6 from the field for 3-point line. So Brogdon, if you got him later rounds, he's a great player. And the only thing with him, hopefully he stays healthy, because last season he was on a tear as well. But then he got hurt. Victor Oladipo, he's working back into shape as well after coming off the ACL injury last season. 18 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 6 of 20 from the field, and 1 for 7 from 3. So Depot, he's got to get his 3-point shooting on track. We saw it last game, him have a good line. But in this one, he didn't do much from the field, shooting under 40%. So hopefully he bounces back. He's still a good player. He still scored a decent amount of points here. So I think he'll be fine. Miles Turner, he was a center. I said to sell high this season and this week. And right now, this is showing it in this box score. 2 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 1 of 6 shooting. He's the third or fourth option in this offense behind Sabonis, Brogdon, and Oladipo. Is Turner. I know he had 7 blocks, which is insane in this game, but besides the blocks, he's not giving fantasy owners much of anything else. So if Turner's blocks go down, which right now he's averaging 4 a game, then I would try to trade him this week. And maybe after this game, if someone needs block shots after the high usage in that category, I would definitely try to get rid of Turner, because he's not scoring the ball consistent enough or rebounding, so the blocks are keeping him going. Justin Holiday, on the other hand, if he's on your fantasy wire, you go pick him up. 31 minutes of play, 20 points, 5 boards, and he's out there probably in a bunch of leagues. 6 of 9 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3, and right now he's the big 6-man on this team. TJ Warren's out. They need another guy to step up and take that scoring load, and it looks like Holiday is the guy right now. TJ McDonald, decent game. 19 minutes, 4 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, but he has no value. And Doug McDermott, no value either. 16 minutes of play, 6 points, 2 rebounds. Now on to the Charlotte Hornets and the Atlanta Hawks. And the Hornets here with a huge victory, 102-94. And I don't know what's going on with the Hawks. They started off the season 4-1, and now they lost to the Knicks and the Hornets. 2 mediocre teams, even though the Knicks are playing well in back-to-back games. And now let's see what went on here for the Hornets box score. P.J. Washington, he had a solid game. 9 points, 10 boards, 4 assists. Like I said with Washington, he's going to be up and down this season, but he's a player that definitely should be on your fantasy roster because he could put up numbers. He's playing a big role with this Hornet team, and once again you saw him here with 37 minutes of play. Gordon Hayward, he exploded, and he's a player I said to sell high this week, and after a performance like this, I definitely would try to sell him high. A crazy 44 points for Hayward, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 12 of 15 of 25 from the field, 10 of 12 from the line, and 4 of 9 from 3. So Hayward, he was in the zone. He went off in this one, and this is probably one of his best games since he was on the Jazz a few seasons ago. So Hayward, I'm not going to lie, he's been balling out so far this season, but I don't know if he could sustain it. He's a player that's value, like I just said, is skyrocketed. And if I could get some good players or package him with someone else for a superstar in fantasy basketball, I would do it because Hayward, I don't know if he's going to stay healthy, and he's definitely not going to have many stat lines like the one he did here tonight. But if you're a Hayward owner and he gave you this production, good for you. Devonta Graham, this game he took a step back again, and so far this season his shooting has been way off. 2 for 14 from the field in this one, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. But Graham, I still believe in him. He was a stud last season for fantasy owners, and this year it's just been a shooting slump for him. Maybe playing with Lamellar Ball and Hayward, he's got to change his game up a little or something. But I think it's just a shooting slump. He's a shooter, and this is what happens with streaky shooters. They go up and down, and right now Graham's been in the down most of the season. Terry Rozier, he was another player on this Hornet team I said to sell this week high after he came off a 35-point game last week, and in this one a mediocre game. 14 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. 4 or 10 shooting from the field for Rozier. I think he'll get things going, but like I said with Hayward, if you could package Rozier with someone and get an all-star or a superstar on your fantasy team, you do it, because I think Rozier's value right now is going to be at the highest it is with an early season 42 and 35-point game. Bismack Biyombo, another bad performance here. 2 points, 8 rebounds, and an assist. He was a recommended pickup this week, but the last 2 games now, he hasn't done much. So if he has another bad game here by Biyombo, I would tell you to drop him because he only played 24 minutes. Obviously, we know he's not a scorer. The scorers on this team is going to be Graham, Hayward, Rozier, and Lamellar Ball. Lamellar Ball. So that's that with Biyombo. Now on to Lamellar Ball. 23 minutes of play, and he had a good stat line. 16 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 of 12 from the field. And he actually was 2 of 5 from 3. So Ball, the thing with him is just consistency in his shot. If he could get that shot and that 3 ball to go down, Ball's going to be a fantasy monster. I still believe he's going to win the Rookie of the Year. I say this every time. Just the talent of Lamellar Ball jumps off the screen, and he's going to help fantasy owners. And I think this Hornet team this year, Miles Bridges, he didn't do much in this one. 22 minutes, 2 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. And Bridges, I was big on him coming into the season, but right now there's a lot of guys over there in Charlotte who are ahead of him in the pecking order. So Bridges, he might be a guy you would have to drop if there's better options on your waiver wire. Now to the Hawks box score. John Collins, he's been a fantasy stud so far once again this season. 23 points, 11 boards in 31 minutes. So Collins, he went second and third in most fantasy drafts, and he's putting up the production of going in that round right now, and he's a stud. Deandre Hunter, he's been the pickup of the year most likely right now in fantasy. 17 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 of 15 from the field, 1 of 7 of 3. So he's doing work, Hunter. He's scoring points. He's getting the minutes, obviously. Bogdanovic, again, he didn't do much, and Gallinari's hurt, so he's got the keys in the starting lineup at the small forward position is Hunter, and I don't think they're going to pull him from it anytime soon. Trey Young, for once, he had a bad game, and he only took 9 shots, which is very surprising. So Trey Young, 7 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. It's just a bad performance. He'll bounce back. And 9 field goals, you know he takes 15 to 20 a game. Cam Reddish, another bad game for him though. 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 of 15 from the field. So Cam Reddish, so far in his NBA career, he's an up-and-down player in his second season here. He's still getting the starter minutes. He's playing. And there's going to be good nights and bad nights with Reddish, just like some of these other Hawk players. Kevin Huerter, he had a good game. 32 minutes, 19 points, 5 boards, 6 assists. And he hit 5 of 12 from 3, 7 of 15 from the field. So Huerter, he's been pretty decent this year, but he's up and down as well. But if he's on the fantasy wire and you got a dead roster spot or an open spot with an injured guy, Huerter, he would be a decent get. Clint Capela, this guy, he's a rebounding machine. And in this one, in 26 minutes of play, he had 7 points, 19 rebounds, and an assist for Capela. 3 for 8 from the field, 1 or 2 from the line. So Capela, he's a true center. He's going to get rebounds. He's going to be a garbage man for this team with a lot of putbacks and dunks, but he's going to help fantasy owners in a big way. Bogdan Bogdanovic, he didn't do anything again here. And I think it might be time to drop him now. The last 3 or 4 games, he hasn't had any impact for this Hawk team or fantasy teams. And in this one, 18 minutes, 2 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 of 5 shooting. So right now, he's the 4th or 5th guy in the pecking order here in Atlanta. And Gallinari's out and he's still not producing. So that's a troubling sign. So if there's a better option on your wire, I think I would drop Bogdanovic at this time. So the Milwaukee Bucks and the Detroit Pistons in a rematch from the other night. The Bucks win it once again here. 130 to 115. They improved to 5-3, and the Pistons fall to an awful 1-7 here early in the season. And now to the Detroit box score. Blake Griffin, he played in this one. 9 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists, 2 of 9 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3. So far this season, Blake Griffin, he just hasn't got anything going. And fantasy owners like me, I got him in a few leagues, and he's been a disappointment. It seems like he don't play back-to-backs. It seems like an injury's always popped up so far this season, and hopefully Griffin could get it going because he's been struggling mightily right now. And he did play 26 minutes in this one, but it was a bad stat line. Jeremy Grant, the great season continues for him. Once again, he had 31 points, 10 rebounds, an assist, 9 to 20 from the field, a great 11-11 from the foul line, and 2 of 6 from 3. Grant, he's a player. I didn't expect him to be a big-time scorer here for this Detroit Piston team when they signed him in the offseason. But he proved me wrong. He's putting up big numbers, and I don't think he's going to slow down anytime soon. The only thing is shooting percentage ain't all that great, but he could pick it up. And Jeremy Grant, if you got him in your later rounds of your drafts, he's been a total steal up to this point so far. DeLon Wright, he got the start here with Killian Hayes out now for a while with the torn labrum, and he played 25 minutes, 3 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 1 for 8 from the field, and 1 for 5 from 3. So DeLon Wright, he might have value right now. He's a player to keep an eye on because obviously he's going to start and play 25, 30 minutes a game with Hayes on the shelf now for a few months and possibly the season. Wayne Ellington, another start in this one. And the veteran Ellington, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 of 6 from 3, 5 of 9 from the field. So Ellington, he's played well now in the last 2 starts that he's had, but he's still not on fantasy radars. He's been doing decent, and he's only going to help you in threes and scoring if you want to get him on your team, but I don't recommend to do so yet. Mason Plumlee, he's a player I said to sell high at center this week, and now his numbers are starting to slow down the last few games after he got off to a roaring start in the first 2 weeks of the season. 4 points, 5 rebounds, and an assist, 2 for 5 from the field. And Plumlee, I think, is going to be inconsistent and have a lot of off nights like he did in this one for the Detroit Pistons. I know they gave him a good chunk of change and a good contract, but Plumlee, I don't think he'll be that great in fantasy, and the first 2 weeks were just a little fluky. Bay, he had a good ball game in this one and a double-double. 24 points, 24 minutes, 20 points, 10 boards, 3 assists for Bay. So Bay, the last couple games, he's been good the last 2 out of 4. And now if his role is going to expand, he might have some fantasy value. I know Josh Jackson was out in this one with the ankle sprain. But Bay, if he's going to play consistent minutes and put up type of numbers like this, especially adding 6 threes with the double-double, he's going to have a lot of value. Stewart, 20 minutes, 5 boards, 7 rebounds. He's not going to be a factor. Mulik, not a factor. But let's get to Derrick Rose here. He only played 11 minutes in this one. You would think his role would have expanded and he would have played more minutes. But tonight he just didn't play much. 11 minutes, 10 points, and a rebound and an assist. This game was a blowout early, so that's part of it. So Rose, he's still going to help fantasy owners. He's been pretty solid this season and last season as well. And as long as he's healthy, he's going to be good. Now to the Buck side of things. Giannis, another good game here. 25 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Last time versus the Pistons a couple nights ago, he had 43 points. This one's still a good stat line, But the Bucks, they were coasting in this one, so they benched these guys early. He only got the 28 minutes, but Giannis, he's a stud, no doubt about it. Chris Middleton, another good game for him, 23 points, 5 boards, 7 assists, 9 for 15 from the field, and a nice 5 for 6 from 3. So Middleton, you know he's a solid ball player. He's putting up consistent numbers, and he's the number 2 option right now in this Buck offense. Jrue Holiday, another mediocre game for him. His numbers have taken a big hit since he got traded this offseason here to Milwaukee. Only 10 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 for 11 from the field. So Holiday, I don't know if he's going to be that great this season as the third option in this offense for Milwaukee. He's not scoring the basketball as much, and even his assists have taken a hit, and his field goals attempts as well. So Holiday, he's a guy that's a little concerning right now. And if you want to get rid of him or package him with someone else, that might be a recommended move. Dante Di Vincenzo, 22 minutes, and he had an off game. 4 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist, 2 for 8 from the field. But Di Vincenzo, he's been a good late-round sleeper or waiver wire pickup so far this season. So it was just an off game for him. I think he'll bounce back. Brook Lopez, he was a center I said to buy low this week, and he had a good game here. 17 points, 4 boards, 5 assists, 6 and 9 from the field, and he added 4 for 7 from the three-point line. So Lopez, he's been steady. He's a good player. He fits this offense well, and he's a center I would like to have on my team because he's solid, and you know what you're going to get from him. Bobby Portis, another big game for him. 16 points, 10 boards, 4 assists, and he did add 2 threes with that, is Portis. So Portis, he's playing lights out. I know it's been his third team in 3 seasons now, but Portis, he's getting the job done, and he's playing a major role off the bench for this team. The only guy out that's really ahead of him is Patrick Connaughton. So Portis, he's getting the opportunities. He's the backup big man at center and powered forward. And if he's out there in your fantasy leagues, I recommended him as a pickup early in the week. You should go out there and get him now. Breen Forbes, 22 minutes, 8 points, an assist, a rebound. He don't have value. DJ Augustine, same thing, 22 minutes, 8 points, 4 boards, 6 assists, a decent game, but he don't play enough to have fantasy value, is DJ Augustine. The Knicks and the Utah Jazz here. The Knicks win it 112-100, and the Knicks now have won 4 out of 5 games, and they were down 18 in this one, and a big come-from-behind victory. And now the Jazz, they've struggled in the last couple games, losing in back-to-back days. Now let's go to the box score here. And for the Utah Jazz, Royce O'Neal, another start, and he had a mediocre game. 8 points, 9 rebounds, 3 for 6 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. So Royce O'Neal, right now, he's only a guy to look at in deep formats. I know he's starting and getting minutes, but he's got to do more to be a guy to get in fantasy leagues, in 10 to 12 team leagues. Bojonbo Donovic, another bad game for him. And if he's on your fantasy team, he might be droppable as well here. 28 minutes of play, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 2 for 10 from the field, and 1 for 7 from the 3. So obviously, his specialty's hitting threes and a decent field goal percentage. But right now, he's just not getting the job done. And this Jazz team now, the last few games, they've looked pretty bad, and most of the players haven't been doing much. So Bogdanovic, if you got better options on your waiver wire or something, he could be a guy definitely in the droppable conversation. Donovan Mitchell, 36 minutes of play, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and a Mitchell, so far this year, he just can't get it going. His field goal percentage has been bad, 2 for 10 from 3 in this one. So Mitchell, he's in a big shooting slump the whole season here, and hopefully getting that big contract didn't mess him up a little where he don't have to put in the extra work and try harder. But Mitchell, he's a player you could probably buy low right now with his struggles from the field and not putting up insane point games. Mike Conley, this game, he struggled once again. So Conley, I said to sell him high going into the week after coming off a couple great performances. Now Conley back down to earth a little here. In 29 minutes, he had 9 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and a terrible 3 for 14 shooting from the field and 3 for 4 from the line. And he didn't add a 3. So this Jazz team, everyone's in a funk, it seems like. And once again here, Conley was. And if you could package him with someone else if you want him off your team because he's struggling mightily the last few games, is Conley. This is the time to do it before his value is pretty much bleak. Rudy Goldberg, he had a bounce-back performance in this one. 14 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 7-9 from the field, but 0 for 3 from the line. So Shaq's comments might have got Goldberg going here. And Goldberg, another decent game. You know what you're going to get from him. A double-double, probably a steal a game, 2.5 blocks a game. And that's what he's doing. Joe Ingles, a nice bounce-back game here for him. He's been dropped in a bunch of fantasy leagues, but we got to see more consistency for him to get picked back up. 28 minutes of play, 16 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 of 13 from the field, and 4 threes, which was a good thing. Jordan Clarkson, 19 points, 7 of 12 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3. And Clarkson, he's going to be a 6-man, obviously, here for Utah. And you know what you're going to get from him. You're going to get scoring in threes pretty much, and maybe a few assists for your fantasy teams. And Derek Favors and Zhang, they don't have value. Now to the Knicks side of things, Julius Randle, another huge game in this one. 30 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists. So Randle, almost nightly, he comes close to getting a triple-double. Just his only downfall in this one. Once again, he didn't hit a 3, and he was 10 for 26 from the field. But Randle's been a stud. He's the point forward in this Knicks offense, and he's playing 43 minutes a game in Thibodeau's offense. Well, you know Thibodeau, he likes playing small rotations, and we saw it again here in this one. And right now, Julius Randle, he's a top 10 player in fantasy, and he's leading the Knicks here with a winning record. Who would have thought? Reggie Bullock, he don't really have fantasy value, but he had a pretty good game here. 29 minutes, 12 points, 7 rebounds, 5 for 8 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3. So the Knicks, they got a bunch of injuries. Bullock, he's been starting just about every game this season. I think he started in, but he just hasn't been consistent enough to be owned in basic formats. Maybe in very, very deep leagues you could get him, weigh him, but not for this. Alfred Payton, a pretty good game here. 22 points, 8 assists, 10 of 15 from the field. So quickly with that big game versus Atlanta, might have motivated Payton more here to get going and pick his teammates up and have a good game, and that's what he did in this one. He's usually a bad field goal percenter in fantasy, but he went 10 for 15 in this one. And Payton, he's probably owned in most leagues, but if he's out there by chance on your waiver wire, he's worth a pickup this week if you got someone to drop for him. R.J. Barrett, a down game for him. And Barrett in his sophomore season so far, he's been up and down. He did play 33 minutes, 9 points, 5 rebounds, and an assist. But the shooting percentage is the problem, and him not hitting threes and his foul shooting. Just overall, if his shooting can be more consistent and he could shoot at a better percentage and get it going, Barrett, sky's the limit for him. But right now, his poor shooting is what holds him back, and he was 4 for 14 from the field, 1 for 3 from the line, and 0 for 3 from 3. Mitch Robinson, he was a center I said to sell high this week, and a good game in this one, though. 9 points, 13 rebounds, 4 for 6 from field. Robinson, you know he's going to be great at field goal percentage. Last season, he led the NBA at 60% from the field. And in this one here, another 4 for 6. He got his 13 boards and a few blocks, and he even added to assists. Thorston Rivers, he's been a major factor on this Knicks team now since he came back from injury. 32 minutes as the 6-man off the bench here. 23 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 9 for 14 from the field, and 5 for 7 from 3. The important thing to note here about Rivers, he was out there in the fourth quarter in crunch time, and he hit shot after shot to keep the Knicks ahead and then pull away to put it away was Rivers. So Thibodeau, he likes Rivers' effort. Rivers, he's buying into the system, obviously. He's even playing good defense and passing the ball a little more this season. So if he's out there on your waiver wire and you got an open roster spot or someone who's struggling, I think Rivers, he's worth the add. Even with Burks and Nicolina and topping out, Rivers, he's still going to get 25, 30 minutes a game, and he's possibly the Knicks' best scorer. Kevin Knox, 15 minutes, 7 points, 1 rebound, but no impact, and he don't have value right now. And Emmanuel Quickly, he was a breakout guy the other day in the win versus the Hawks, but in this one, Alfred Payton was going good. And Thibodeau, that's what he does. He rides the hot hand, and in this one, Quickly, he didn't do much in 5 minutes. 2 assists, so keep him on the wire. And that was the Knicks and the Jazz ball game. They're now on to the Thunder. Now the Thunder and the Pelicans here. And the Thunder win a close one, 111-110 to improve to 3-4 in the season. And the Pelicans now 4-500 at 4-4. And now let's get into the box score for the Thunder. Bagley, another good game here. 20 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 8-20 from the field, 3 for 11 from 3. So Bagley, he's a player that's going to have growing pains as the season goes on. But right here, he had a big game in this one. And he's got to be owned in most fantasy leagues. Like I said, these kids here in OKC, they're going to play a lot of minutes. They're going to get every opportunity. The only veterans on this team, really, is Al Horford, Muscala, and George Hill. But besides that, all the young kids are here playing. And we'll see what they could do as the season goes on. But Bagley, he's been putting up decent numbers. You just want to see that field goal percentage go up for him. Lou gets Dort here in this one. 30 minutes of play, 9 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist here for Dort. So Dort, he's had some ups and downs this season, but he's going to play major minutes. Obviously, he's a starter here for this Thunder team. And he's going to have lines like this where he only has 9 points, a board, and an assist. And in this one, he only took 4 shots. So you want to see him be more aggressive and takes more shots. George Hill, another decent game here for the veteran guard. 27 minutes of play, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 and 9 from the field, 2 for 2 from the foul line for Hill, and 3 of 7 from 3. So he'll give you some assists. He'll hit some threes. And right, like I said, he's the veteran presence here on this Oklahoma City Thunder team, because this team, it's a rebuild year. Even though so far they haven't played that bad, they are 3-4. It's not like they're totally going to be a horrible team. They got some players here like Gilgeous-Alexander, 36 minutes of play, 21 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, and he added a whopping 5 steals to his stat line. So Gilgeous-Alexander was a second or third rounder in most fantasy drafts, and so far he's been pretty decent. 7 for 17 as well in this one, and 2 of 7 from 3, but he's the main man over there. Like I said, all these kids are going to play, and he was the main piece in that Paul George deal last offseason. So Gilgeous-Alexander, he's a great fantasy player. And a stud, Al Horford, another mediocre to poor game for him in this one. 8 points, 7 boards, an assist, 3 of 11 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3 from Horford. I said to buy him low in the center column. And some teams, they might even drop Horford here. After the last few games, he hasn't done much of anything. So if he gets dropped and he's on your wire, I would pick him up. And then the rest of these guys, they don't have value. Muscala, Madeline Williams, and Roby. But Muscala, he had a big game in this one, but I think it was fluky. 18 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 for 7 from 3. Now on to the Pelicans here. Zion Williamson, a huge game for him. 29 points, 6 rebounds, 12 of 17 from the field, and 5 for 6 from the line. So Williamson, you know he's a stud. You know he gets the job done for his team and for fantasy owners. Just the only thing with Williamson, will he hold up this season and be healthy? And so far, he's looked good, so hopefully it stays that way. Brandon Ingram, he's another start, and another good game for him here. 24 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 9 of 15 from the field, 6 for 6 from the line. And surprisingly, he only took 2 threes in this one, and he went 0 for 2. But Brandon Ingram, he's been a monster this season. He was a second or third rounder, and he's really coming through for that value where he got drafted. And this guy, he is like a Kevin Durant. Obviously not as good, but in the next few years, he could get to that level. And every season, he's improving. Lonzo Ball, decent line, but the field goal percentage, obviously the issue with him. 6 for 18 from the field, 2 of 9 from 3. So Lonzo Ball, he's got to get going, man. He's got to get better, and he's got a contract season coming up here. So he's a free agent after the year, and he's got to play better at the field goal percentage. He's still scoring the ball, though, which is good. But if he just could improve his shot and shooting, he'll take the next level. Eric Bledsoe, a decent game for him. He had 13 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 5 and 9 from the field. So Bledsoe, his value is pretty much the same as it was last season here with the Pelicans, like it was with the Bucks last year, where he was the 3rd or 4th option on the offense as Bledsoe. He still has value. He's still going to score points. He'll help in steals and assists. So Bledsoe, that's why he was ranked in the 8th and 9th round of drafts, because they figured this is what he's going to do. Steven Adams, what a game for him here. A triple-double for the big man. 34 minutes, 10 points, 11 boards, and 10 assists. Steve Adams, one of the best centers in all of basketball, all around. He plays defense, he rebounds, he could pass the ball. And he was another center I said to buy low this week at the center position. And Adams now, after this one performance, I don't think you could buy him low. So Adams, he's going to produce. He plays. He's a gamer. Josh Hart, he didn't do much. No points, but he had 10 rebounds. And that's the thing with Hart. He's a good rebounder for a guard, but for whatever reason, he's had a down year. Alexander Walker, he had a decent game. 13 points, 5 boards. He's not on the radar. J.J. Redick, I said he was droppable. So drop him. 2 points in 8 minutes. And Jackson Hayes, he don't have value either. 13 minutes, only 4 points, 2 rebounds for Hayes. Now to the Phoenix Suns and the Toronto Raptors. And the Suns continue to start off this season with a bang. 123-115 victory. And the Suns hit 21 threes in this one to pull it out on their home floor. And them and the Lakers right now tied for first in the Western Conference. I know it's 8 games, but it's still impressive here. Now to the Raptors box score. Pascal Siakam, he's back and better than ever, it looks like, after walking off the floor last week and getting suspended a game by the Raptors. 32 points, 9 boards, 3 assists, 11 of 21 from the field. He added a 3. And the only problem in this one, 9 of 14 from the foul line. So that definitely hurts your free throw percentage. But Siakam, he's a good player. He was a player I ranked in the top 25 coming into the year. And these are the type of numbers he's putting up. He's the main man over there in Toronto, I believe. Then followed by Lowry and Van Vliet. And he's going to put up numbers and he's going to be elite for fantasy teams, is Siakam. OG Anunoby, I said to sell him high this week. In this game, he had a good game. I'm not going to lie. 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 for 10 from the field. Then he went 3 for 5 from 3. So OG, decent rebounder. He could hit threes and he could score the basketball. But still, I said to sell him. And now after a game like this, his value definitely goes up. And you could attach him to someone else here and try to trade him off if you want to sell him high. Fred VanVleet, he finally cooled off a little here in the scoring category because he was dropping 25 plus the last few games, but in this one, still a solid line. 13 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 for 12 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. So VanVleet, you know, he's going to be a main vocal point here in Toronto. He's a big scorer. He's playing 35, 40 minutes a game, and he had 38 minutes in this one. And he's going to be fine for your fantasy team because he's just going to keep having the ball in his hands and fire away. Kyle Lowry, a good game for him. 24 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 9 for 15 from the field, 3 for 8 from the field. Lowry, the last 4 or 5 seasons, he's been very good in fantasy basketball. He's a leader on this Toronto team. I know the times are bad right now for them, though, at 1-7 so far in the early going after winning the championship 2 seasons ago. But I think Lowry and this team, they'll bounce back. He's going to step his game up. And the only thing you got to worry about Lowry is the injury concern. Aaron Baines, 13 minutes. Again, an empty line. No points, 5 boards, no fantasy value. Norman Powell, he had a pretty decent game here. 13 points, 1 board, 1 assist. 7 of 8 from the line was his big stat. And 2 for 5 from 3. Powell this week, he's been dropped in a couple leagues. But we got to see more consistency out of him to trust him in 10 to 12 team leagues. Chris Booker, only 15 minutes they gave him in this one. 9 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. Booker, he was a big play in fantasy this season in the draft, the late sleeper. And so far, he's put up solid numbers. This game, he just didn't play much, and I think he'll be fine. Now to the Phoenix Suns here. Jay Crowder, he's been inconsistent again this season, but when he gets hot from 3, he could pour in the points, and that's what he did in this ball game. 34 minutes, 6 of 9 from 3, 21 points and 3 rebounds. So Crowder, he's a guy on the fringe of owning in 10 to 12 team leagues. But like I said, he's been inconsistent and up and down so far this season. So he's got to pile together a few more big performances to be relevant in most fantasy leagues. Mikhail Bridges, I said to sell him high this week. 13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 for 10 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3. So Bridges, His points per game, I think, are going to drop now once Booker and Chris Paul get more acclimated in this offense here. And right now, I would sell him high, Bridges. I don't think he's going to hold great value like he is right now in the top 50 in the rankings in fantasy. Chris Paul, mediocre game. But Chris Paul, you know he's a gamer. You know he's a veteran. Not every game he's going to be putting up huge numbers, but he's still very good for fantasy. And in this one, he did 12 points, 4 boards, 8 assists, 100% from the line, 4 for 12. And anywhere Chris Paul goes, and as long as he stays healthy, his teams make it to the playoffs and have good seasons. And so far here with his new team in Phoenix, they're 6-2. Devin Booker, good game again here. 24 points, 1 rebound, 6 assists, 6 of 14 from the field, and he shot 90% from the line and 3 of 8 from 3. Booker's a stud. I know his points per game have dropped so far this season, but you know an explosion is around the corner for him with a 50-plus game, because that's just the type of player Booker is. He could get cold, and then when he gets hot, this guy could drop 50 in his sleep. Deandre Ayton, another big game here. 11 points, 16 boards, and an assist. And Ayton, he's a total stud at the center position. He was taken in the second or third round for a reason, and now he's starting to get things going here for the Suns after a slow start. Cam Johnson, he was a recommended added forward this week because he could have ball games like this, and he had 16 points, 3 rebounds, 60% from the field, and he added 4 threes was Johnson. So Johnson, he's playing well. I know he's had up and downs. He's a young player, but he's still fantasy relevant in my opinion. And so, believe it or not, he's ranked in the top 40 as of now in 9-cat leagues. Carter, he don't have value. Dario Saric, maybe he'll have some value. 15 points, 5 rebounds, and an assist for Saric. 6 for 11 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, but he only played 16 minutes, but he got hot early in this one. And to have 11 shot attempts off the bench says a lot. So Saric, he's a good 7th, 8th man off the bench here for this Phoenix team, but we got to see more from him before he's valuable in most fantasy leagues. Next game, the Sacramento Kings and the Chicago Bulls. And the Kings here with a 128-124 victory. It's a good win here for the Kings. They improved to 4-4 on the season, and the Bulls fall to 4-5. Now let's get to the box score here. And for Chicago, Otto Porter Jr., I said sell him high early in the week because he's been an inconsistent player so far here for the Bulls. 3 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 of 8 from the field, and 1 of 5 from 3. So Otto Porter, he's not going to put up huge numbers, I believe, like he did in Washington with consistency, and this game goes to show it. And I've been saying he's the 3rd or 4th option here on this Bull team. On this night you saw Kobe White with 36, Zach LaVine with 32, and then Porter, Williams, and Carter mixed in there. Now on to Patrick Williams, 9 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. This rookie, he's still getting an opportunity to start here for Chicago, but he's just not shooting the ball that much. 3 for 6 from the field and 1 for 2 from the three-point line. But Williams, I think he'll get better as the season goes on here for Chicago. It's still early in the year. It's his rookie year, and you got to wait for things to pan out. In deeper leagues, you hold on to him. In shallow leagues, like 8 to 10 team leagues, maybe you drop him. But Patrick Williams, he's going to get better as the year goes on. Kobe White, a player I keep talking about a lot. I was high on him coming into the season, and a big ball game for him in this one. 36 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 for 9 from 3, and a nice 15 from 23 from the field. So White, he's going to have nights where he's white hot from the field, and he was in this one. He couldn't miss early in this ball game, and it was tough to see Chicago still lose, though, with White having 36 and LaVine 32. So White, he's a stud. They gave him the keys to the point guard position here in the offseason, and he's taking it and running with it. So White, I expect some nights where he's going to go off like he did in this one. Zach LaVine, he's the alpha over there in Chicago. Another good game for him, and he's starting to pick it up now the last few games, going over 30 points. In this one, 32 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 13 from 24 from the field. So that was good, over 50%. But 3 for 11 from 3, which he's got to improve on. But LaVine, you got him in most leagues, 2nd or 3rd round. He's a good player, and his scoring is his top priority here for fantasy owners and the Chicago Bulls. Wendell Carter Jr., a good game from him. 11 points, a whopping 17 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 of 9 from the field, 3 for 4 from the foul line. So Wendell Carter, he's a good player. And now with Marketing, who's been out of the last few games, he's going to get more rebounds and have more points to score as well as Carter. So it was a good game for him. Gary Temple, he played 32 minutes, but he's still not on the fantasy radar, in my opinion. 11 points, 4 assists, 3 for 5 from 3. Denzel Valentine, same with him, 21 minutes of play. He had a good stat line, though. 4 rebounds, 5 assists, but he's still not on the radar. Thad Young, too, 20 minutes of play, 8 points, 2 rebounds, and now to some injuries here. Lauri Markkanen, he's still out, and hopefully he could come back soon. But Markkanen now, the last year and a half, he's been up and down in fantasy and tough to own. Now to the King side of things, Marvin Bagley, he exploded when De'Aaron Fox went out early in this game with hamstring tightness. 21 points, 12 boards, 8 of 14 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. So Bagley, you saw him get the ball more, obviously, once Fox went down. And that's what he might need, Bagley, an injury, for him to have huge fantasy value. So it was a good game from him. By expecting consistencies as well as the season continues for Bagley, unless someone gets traded here or if he gets traded. But it was a good game to see from him. Harrison Barnes, he continues to score and put up decent numbers. 20 points, 5 assists, 7 of 10 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3. So Barnes, he's been a good player for the Kings this season. They paid him the big contract a couple off seasons ago, and he's going to be one of the main vocal points here in this offense. Fox, like I said, 5 minutes of play, 3 points only. And that hamstring tightness, he couldn't finish the game, obviously. So hopefully he's okay. And if for some reason he's got to miss an extended period of time, Halliburton, the rookie, he's the big pickup here. And he had a big game in Fox's absence. 17 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. So if Halliburton's out there and we get word Fox is out a few weeks or something, you got to go out there and get him on the wire. Buddy Hield, the struggles continue. I said to buy him low, but right now, I don't know if Hield could get out of this shooting funk right now. 10 points only, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and a horrible 3 for 15 from the field, 2 for 2 from the line, and 3 for 7, 2 for 9, I think, from 3, for Hield. So Hield, I don't know what it is. He's in a slump. Last season, he was one of the best shooters in all of the NBA, and this year, he just can't get it going, and hopefully he turns it around. Raquan Holmes, he's been inconsistent this season, but a huge game in this one. 24 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists in 29 minutes of play, and a crazy 10 for 11 from the field, which he's not going to keep going. Holmes, though, he's producing. I thought he wouldn't do much this season, but so far he's been pretty consistent and pretty solid for fantasy owners. Corey Joseph, he got 25 minutes of play, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Joseph, even if Fox is out an extended period of time, I don't think he'll hold great fantasy value at this time. Glenn Robinson, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in 24 minutes of play. That's a good ball game for Robinson. 5 for 7 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3. So Robinson, we'll see if he's going to continue to play consistent minutes, but he's not on the radar. Bawigwa, 19 minutes of play, 12 points, 4 boards, 5 assists, 1 for 4 from 3. But he's not on the radar at this time. And Hassan Whiteside, I said to drop him early in the week. And once again, a coach's decision, DMP, so he should be dropped fantasy league wide right now. Now on to the last game of the night, the Clippers and the Warriors. And the Clippers win it 108-101. Paul George returns in this ball game, and the Clippers get the win. And another note, Kawhi plays his first back-to-back since 2017, so that's a good sign for Kawhi owners. Hopefully, he continues to play the majority of the games and no load management, and maybe Tyronn Lue is finally going to hold these guys accountable for missing games and practices. So that's the thing here. Now, here for the Clippers, Nicholas Batum, 13 points, 5 rebounds, no assists, but Batum, he's been playing solid, and Marcus Morris, he finally returned in this game, but it didn't impact Batum at all. He's still 4 for 9 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, so Batum, He's a solid fantasy player, and he should be owned in a majority of the leagues. I don't see his playing time going down. Obviously, with everyone back, and Morris, he got 18 minutes of play. But Batum, he's an all-around better player than Morris in my position. Kawhi Leonard, his first back-to-back, like I mentioned at the top of this game. 21 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. So Kawhi, his field goals, they went down in this one. Only 12 attempts, but he still had a solid game. Good field goal percentage, 100% from the line. And Leonard, if he could play most of the games this season, he was definitely a bargain in late first round, mid-second. Patrick Beverley, no fantasy value, but he's the starting point guard for this Clipper team. 30 minutes, 7 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 1 of 5 from the field, 2 of 8 field goals. So Beverley, no fantasy value unless you're in the deepest of leagues, but even then, you don't do much to garner a roster spot. Paul George, he returned in this one after some knee soreness. 21 points, 12 boards, 2 assists, 5 of 15 from the field. A perfect 9 for 9 from the line, 2 for 6 from 3. So George in this one, he didn't shoot the ball the greatest, but he still added other categories to help your fantasy team. And this season, Paul George, he does seem like a better, well-rounded player. The Clippers gave him a huge contract extension for a reason. And right now, it's paying off for the Clippers and Paul George, and hopefully he keeps it up. Serge Ibaka, a nice bounce-back game for him in this one. 12 points, 14 rebounds and an assist, 5 of 13 from the field for Ibaka, and he went 1 for 4 from 3. So Ibaka, there's going to be big nights for him and bad nights, and this was a big one for him, and he should be rostered in a majority of fantasy leagues as well. He's the starting center, and no one's going to take minutes from him, honestly, in my opinion. Lou Williams, another bad game here, and the slump continues for Williams. I thought he was breaking out of it, but a bad game here, 19 minutes, 3 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists. So Lou Williams, if the struggles continue, he might be a candidate to be dropped heading into week 4 of the fantasy basketball season. Marcus Morris, he returned finally after missing the first 8 games with injury, and he had a decent game. 12 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 field goals out of 9 made, 2 for 2 from the line, and he added 2 threes. So Marcus Morris, he's a good ball player. He hit his shots in this one, but we'll see what he could do as the season goes on. He got the huge contract as well, but Nicholas Batum, I don't think Morris is really going to cut into his time. Luke Kennard, I could see losing playing time to Marcus Morris here. Speaking of Luke Kennard, in this one, 18 minutes, 9 points and a rebound and an assist. He don't have fantasy value unless you're in the deepest of leagues. Zubac, 10 minutes, 4 points, 6 boards. This season, they're just not playing Zubac a lot because Serge Ibaka, he's a huge upgrade, in my opinion, over Zubac. So he's just going to be a guy to come in and play some minutes and give Ibaka a rest. And Reggie Jackson, he didn't do much. He don't have value. 6 points, 2 boards, 3 assists. Now to the Golden State side of things. Draymond Green, another game where he just didn't do too much. I know he's a defensive specialist for this club, but for fantasy owners, he don't do one thing great. And Green, he's a player I would try to get off my team, put him in a package with someone else in a trade, or even he might be droppable soon. But Green, 4 points, 6 boards, 6 assists, 1 for 3 from the field, 2 for 3 from the line. Another underwhelming performance. Andrew Wiggins, he's starting to get it going now. 19 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, and a nice 8 for 12 from the field and 2 for 4 from 3. Wiggins, he's a streaky player. He's a good scorer who could score the basketball. And in this game, he got it going finally, was Andrew Wiggins. So he's got value. He's a player that went 6th or 7th round, and he's pretty much playing up to that. Steph Curry, he had a down performance in this one, and he tweaked his ankle too. So hopefully he plays in tonight's ball game, is Curry, or the next one whenever they play. 13 points, 4 boards, 5 assists, 5 of 17 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3. It's just an off night from Curry. He's been putting up huge numbers already this season with a 62-point game under his belt as well. Kelly Oubre, the shooting slump continues, but he also was in foul trouble in this one. Only 24 minutes, 8 points, 5 boards, 4 at 13 from the field. But Oubre, he's a good player. He'll get it going, I believe, soon. And if you could buy him low, or if he got dropped for whatever reason in your fantasy leagues, you should go pick him up. James Wiseman, rookie, he only played 18 minutes in this one and still put up a decent line for limited playing time. 10 points, 4 boards. He did go 50% from the field and he added 2 blocks. So Wiseman, he's going to be good. He's possibly could be the Rookie of the Year. Him or Lamellar Ball are going to win it, in my opinion. So Wiseman, you ride with him, and you could buy him low as well. He was a buy low candidate this week. Damien Lee, 22 minutes, 7 points, 3 boards, no value. Eric Pascal, he's pretty interesting right now. He's been playing more minutes, and another good game for him here. 19 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist, 7 of 14 from the field. So Pascal, he's going to start having some value and turning heads in deeper leagues. So if he could be a 6-man off the bench for this club and continue to play well, he's definitely worth a pickup. But right now, I would pump the brakes on him in 10 to 12 team leagues. Kent Bazemore, 19 minutes, 7 points, 3 boards, 2 assists. He didn't do much. Wanamaker, 15 minutes. He's not fantasy relevant. And Looney, he's on a time restrict, I think, still. Only 12 minutes in this one. 6 points, 3 boards, 3 assists. So that was the NBA recap and fantasy recap for January 6th. And we'll be back tomorrow with more recaps and analysts of the ball games.